Political parties concluded the Edo governorship primaries last week, but there are more questions than answers in some parties after the exercise. We will examine the intra-party issues in terms of challenges inhibiting transparency and cohesion, especially before key elections. On security, plans to make creation of state police a reality getting traction. What are the considerations before its full realization? Also on political update today, the West African sub-region and the task before ECOWAS in realizing better trade relations among member states and the weakening ties between neighbors. We have this and more on our lineup. I'm Fisayo Ogunfuyi. Welcome. Political parties last week conducted governorship primaries to determine candidates to represent each platform in the September 2024 election in the state. Here's a recap.
It was a busy and eventful week for political parties in Edo State as the process of nominating candidates for 2024 Edo governorship election reached its critical stage. The All Progressive Congress, which declared its earlier primary held on February 17, inconclusive, conducted a fresh primary on Thursday, 22nd. The outcome of that direct primary, as announced by the chairman of the reconstituted Primary Election Committee and Cross River State Governor Basi Otu, produced a new candidate, Monday Okwebolo. He is the senator representing Edo Central at the National Assembly. On the same day, the People's Democratic Party, in a widely televised delegates primary that took place at Samuel Ogbemudia Stadium, nominated Asue Igodalo as the party's candidate for the governorship election.
I therefore declared Asurimi Igodalo as the winner of just concluded primaries with a total vote of 577.
Friday, 23rd February, was the turn of the Labour Party, the New Nigeria People's Party, and the All Progressives Grand Alliance to conduct their primaries. At the end of the exercises, the former national president of the Nigerian Bar Association, Olumide Osagbovo Akpata, emerged the candidate of the Labour Party with 316 delegates votes, while a regional pastor in charge of Southern Province 2 of Omega Fire Ministry, Azeme Azena, scored 211 votes to clinch the ticket of the New Nigeria People's Party. The same day, a former chief of staff in Edo State government and university lecturer, Isaiah Osifo, emerged the consensus candidate of the All Progressives Grand Alliance.
I declare the result and declare that Azeme Azena is the declared winner of this election.
Other candidates that emerged during the week include a US-based healthcare professional and the only woman in the race, Patience Ndidiki, who was adopted by members of the People's Redemption Party as their candidate. Dennis Aikoroge for the National Rescue Movement, Bishop Akeleme for the Zenith Labour Party, and Paul Okumboa for the Young Progressives Party. Others are Kennedy Iyere as the candidate of the Accord Party, Oberaifo Udo for African Action Congress, Paul Obazile for African Democratic Party, and Osarere Izedoa for the Social Democratic Party. The 13 of them will be presented to the people of Edo State to choose the next occupant of the Osadebe Avenue.
Meanwhile, the National Working Committee of the Governing All Progressives Congress, APC, has formally presented the certificate of return to the winner of Thursday, 22nd February 2024 APC Edo primary election, Senator Monday Okwebolo.
A fresh date for Edo APC governorship primary election was fixed after a stalemate in the earlier process conducted under the chairmanship of Governor Hope Uzodinma of Imo State Saturday last week. And the outcome of the process prevailed on Thursday, February 22, 2024, and saw the emergence of Senator Okwebolo as APC standard bearer after a concluded exercise in 18 local government areas and 192 wards. Senator Okwebolo is now set to face other parties' candidates in the scheduled September 21 Edo governorship election.
I'm humbly requesting all my brothers and sisters who contested the primary with me to pull together so that we can work together in harmony to develop Edo.
So what is important now is for us to win the election in Edo State.
Yes. On behalf of other aspirants, we will all join hands together to help ensure that Edo State return back to APC.
Meanwhile, the earlier announced APC candidate for Edo governorship election, Dennis Idahosa, stormed National Party Secretariat to file an appeal.
I have written yesterday to the appeal panel committee, and I know they will do justice. Even if whatever they did, I just want to go through the process.
This is the first appeal the party is receiving out of the 11 aspirants that participated in the exercise that produced Senator Monday Okwebolo as the party's candidate.
In the same vein, the PDP NWC has also presented the certificate of return to its Edo State governorship candidate, Asue Ighodalo, for the September 21 election. The NWC insists that it is not aware of any other primary held in Edo State.
Presentation of certificate of return to Asue Ighodalo, having emerged the PDP candidate for the September 21 governorship election in Edo State. Acting National Chairman of PDP, Ambassador Umar Eli Adamagum, urged him to put up a reconciliation mechanism towards bringing his fellow contestants on the same page with his ticket.
PDP is one. We have only one PDP and we are only one primary in Edo.
What I'm looking for is for us to show that through the PDP and through the work of our youth, our women and our elders, and through a unified entity, we can build a first world sovereign in Africa.
Members of the primary election committee, chaired by the governor of Zamfara State, Dauda Lawal, enjoined the Edo people to keep their eyes on the ball until victory is delivered to the party's candidate. They enjoined the people of Edo to go into the election united as a family, just as the PDP NWC restated that the party remains one indivisible family going forward. Meanwhile, less than 24 hours after presentation of certificate of return to Asue Ighodalo, the Edo State Deputy Governor Philip Shaibu was at the PDP National Secretariat to place a demand for the same certificate, insisting that the authentic delegates voted for him.
I'm sure in the coming days, the national chairman and others will adhere to what brought me here today. And when they do so, obviously there won't be need to go to court. But if they don't do what is needful in the sense that I won the primary with the authentic delegate, the certificate should be returned to me. If that is not done, we will not have any choice to seek for interpretation by the court.
The PDP might be heading into another crisis with the claimed 381 authentic delegates already in court challenging the primary election that produced Asue Ighodalo as winner.
All right, so many things happening in the heartbeat of the nation, as it's called, that is Edo State. But earlier in the week, I had a discussion with former APC National Secretary about the issues of internal party cohesion and why it is important for Nigerian parties to get, political parties to get that right, to set a proper tone for elections. Take a listen. The Edo governorship primaries have come and gone with different outcomes for different parties as expected. What is unusual is the parallel primaries and the reorganized one in what should be a cordial inter-party affair. Architect Waziri Bulama, former APC National Secretary, joins us today on Political Update. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Sayo. Thanks for having me.
We are having reorganized and then parallel congresses. Why?
Well, this transition is organized based on the provisions of the constitution of the party and the actual execution of the program, the primary elections, is always accompanied with a great deal of demand of logistics, planning and execution. So in the course of the primaries, I think there were some glitches. I mean, and the party decided to reorganize and rerun to conclude the program. So that is what happened, and it's normal, really. Of course, in the course of democratic practices, we come across problems that have not been encountered before, but ultimately, you know, we overcome problems, and then they become lessons for future, to guide future decisions.
All right, many say for Nigeria to get it right, the political parties must first also get it right. Do you agree?
Well, I agree you know, this assertion in its entirety, but within also, we have to also put it within the context of the entire democratic system. That is, we are going through a learning curve. Democracy, this Fourth Republic, started in 1999, and the culture of democracy, you know, following, subjecting all our actions and activities to rule-based order, you know, we are learning gradually. If you had really observed, quite a lot of changes have taken place, you know, over the last, 24 years. The institutions of democracy, the legislative arm, the executive arm, the judiciary, the agencies, you know, relating, governing, you know, management of elections, INEC and others, and also the party, they are all trying to perfect their actions. They are becoming, building a culture and a system of doing things, which in common parlance is called institutionalization of doing things, so that it becomes a given to run through, you know, the processes. The processes for doing things become, you know, common. This is what is happening, and it's gradually, you know, developing, and democracy is becoming stronger. So clearly, we are making progress, but then this, you know, hitches and glitches are expected as we evolve, you know, in our democratic practice.
One may want to say that that assertion may be relative, simply because it is our leadership recruitment process at the very fundamental part of our lives as a nation democratically. And at this level, which is the most important part of it, that is selecting leaders, people who we will hold accountable, and who perhaps hold our destinies in their hands in terms of the decision they will be making later on when we give them the mantle of leadership. If the process is not particularly transparent, in some cases, I'm not alluding to your party and you know, your party alone, we have seen also in other parties as well. The basis should be merit, isn't it?
Yes, but what is most important, well, clearly there is no doubt about the fact that the political party is the, you know, is the primary leadership recruitment system or institution in a democracy, because you can only run for elections on the basis of, you know, on the platform of political parties. The Constitution has as yet no provision for independent candidature. So the party remains, you know, the leadership recruitment center, the primary leadership recruitment center. But the point is, the party works within a system. I mean, it's an organization with its own internal processes, procedures, and its own bureaucracy, which for now, you know, for most of our parties, this is still, you know, in stage of formation. The bureaucracy of the party is, you know, yet to consolidate. We are still building on that. But the party also is one institution that plays a part in the leadership recruitment process. The individual people who are the individuals who aspire for positions come, you know, on the crest of, you know, momentum, you know, of expectations and sometimes even a kind of entitlement, and they come into these competitions with that energy. The other institutions, the security institutions, the electoral management body, they all have, play a part. And it takes a lot, really, to eventually come up with a consensus and as to who emerges as a candidate. And the parties are also very, very conscious that these processes today have to be clearly and carefully observed, because any glitch or mistake can result in fatal consequences, because somebody can decide to go to court, and if in the process it is discovered that some mistakes have been made in the certification or screening of candidates, elections can easily be overturned. And as we saw in Bayelsa, in 2019, when our party, after winning the general elections, got its election reversed just on the verge of swearing in. And elections had been lost as a result of crisis, in parties. We lost in Zamfara, we lost in Rivers, we lost, and other parties have been losing, candidates are losing, parties are losing. So, but right now there's a more commitment to due process and the rule of law in our party. And to ensure that, for instance, in the case of Edo State, the month preceding the primaries was accompanied by, preceded by a lot of consultation, a lot of cautioning, a lot of collaborative works and so on before the candidates even came to buy the form. And the party had to put them through all the 4 processes of screening, appeal, primaries and primary appeal, before eventually you see one person emerged as candidate that eventually got the certificate issued to him yesterday. And the consultation will not even stop now. It will continue, just as Senator Monday had pledged during his that ceremony, that he will continue to reach out and along with all the leaders would work, I think they'll work towards uniting the party.
Let's lean on your experience, architect, just for a moment. You straddle 2 sectors. Yes. You're a politician, at least you've been the national secretary of your party. You also, perform duties and have been at the helm of affairs in the academia as well. Yeah. When we look at, this, especially if you were to be at the secretariat or being the national secretary, and you've seen a situation where somebody was declared winner a week before, you see him and some of his supporters demonstrating outside the party secretariat, somebody else has been issued a certificate of return now. How do we sort that out?
Well, you see decisions in the certificate is not issued without, it is after the due process of the elections, acceptable, due process had been followed, that the certificate was issued. It wasn't like someone was announced first and then another person was announced later and then a certificate issued. No, a process took place, and this process was transparent, it was in the open, and then led by a committee appointed by the national leadership of the party, the National Working Committee, that carried out the exercise, and the legitimate candidate emerged and the certificate was issued. Now, as to the protests, aggrieved people would protest in many ways. They may protest in the open with placards and so on. Some may decide to even go to court, or some may be doing may carry out protests through reaching out to leaders and so on. So it can come in various ways, but the party has inbuilt mechanisms, for resolving crises of this nature, resolving challenges of this nature. And I believe very soon this matter would be put to a close, and would go into this campaign in Edo State strongly, and eventually emerge as winners in Edo State.
Azuribula Madea earlier in the week, the national leadership of the National Youth Council of Nigeria is urging Nigerians to remain supportive of the current administration, irrespective of their political affiliation. President of the Council, Ambassador Sokubo Sarah Igbe, was speaking at a media conference in Abuja.
Nigerian youth commends the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is process of reforming that is taking place at different levels in the various ministries and parastatals. We believe his capacity to lead this nation to the promised land.
Our people are going through tough times, especially in these challenging times in the history of our nation, Nigeria. While we acknowledge and appreciate the efforts of the state governments and the security agencies in the states in restoring peace in some parts of Idoma land, we call for more intensified and coordinated actions. Consider establishing state police to promote community policing for efficiency and effectiveness.
And finally, the national chairman of the Inter-Party Advisory Council, IPAC, Yusuf Mamman Dantale, says the dismissal of a suit by a former chairman of the council, Yabagi Sani, challenging the council's December 18 election by the courts has paved way for the new leadership to fully assume office.
Immediate past chairman of IPAC, Yabagi Yusuf Sani, had in December 2023 approached the court to challenge his defeat in an election that brought in the Yusuf Mamman Dantale-led ESCO. The court, however, dismissed his suit on the 27th of February 2024 for lacking in merit. Reacting to the development, the General Assembly of the Council maintained that it remained united and further poised towards contributing to the continued growth of the nation's democracy.
IPAC under my leadership will have something greater and better. If I have the mandate of the General Assembly, I will seek to establish a Directorate of Women Affairs to ensure women inclusivity in politics is taken to a better level under my leadership.
The council's first major assignment will be the September 21 governorship election in Edo State, where it promised to deploy massive sensitization of political actors towards understanding their roles better.
That concludes Political Update for this week. We'll be back again on Tuesday. Between now and then, play your politics for the greater good and keep it locked on Nigerian Television Authority for news, reviews, previews and interviews. And of course, we'll have an eye on the Edo elections to be closely followed by the Ondo State governorship elections as well. Bye-bye now.
Thank you.